Liam Holloway stood in the pre-dawn darkness of his barn at 4:30 a.m., coffee in hand, watching his breath form clouds in the cold Texas morning. At 38, he'd been running Holloway Ranch for 12 years since his father's heart attack, and every single one of those years had been a fight. Against drought, against debt, against the crushing reality that small family cattle operations were being swallowed whole by corporate ranches with deeper pockets and fewer scruples. 800 acres of Brahman cattle. Good stock, ethical breeding, honest dealing. That's what Holloway Ranch stood for. That's what his grandfather had built when he'd bought this worthless land 60 years ago with money he'd saved working oil rigs after emigrating from Ireland. And that's what Victor Ashford had been trying to destroy for the past 20 years. Liam's phone buzzed. Text from Cody, his ranch foreman. "Boss, you sure about this?" "45K is everything we got, plus some we don't." Liam typed back, "It's our shot. Only one we're gonna get. Titan's Fury." Even the name sounded like destiny. Liam had first heard about the bull 3 months ago through a broker friend. Hank Morrison, a legendary Brahman breeder in Oklahoma, was retiring and liquidating his herd. Titan's Fury was 2 years old, perfect breeding age, with bloodlines that traced back to some of the finest Brahman stock in the country. At auction, a bull like that would fetch $60,000, maybe $70,000. But Hank wasn't auctioning. He was selling privately to avoid fees and drama, and he'd agreed to sell Titan's Fury to Liam for $45,000. It had taken Liam 3 months to scrape together that money. He'd emptied his savings, $12,000. Taken out an agricultural loan for $25,000 that would take 5 years to repay. Sold his backup tractor and a grain silo he really needed for another $8,000. Every penny he could find, all bet on one bull. Because Titan's Fury could change everything. With that bull's genetics, Liam could produce calves that would sell for double what his current stock brought. Premium buyers who usually went to the big operations like Ironwood Ranch would start coming to Holloway. In 5 years, that $45,000 investment could generate $300,000 in increased revenue. If it worked. If Victor Ashford didn't find some way to sabotage it first. Victor Ashford. The name tasted like battery acid in Liam's mouth. Ironwood Ranch sprawled across 3,000 acres 5 miles south. A corporate operation worth millions, run by a man who'd inherited wealth, land, and an apparently bottomless well of spite for the Holloway family. Liam's grandfather used to tell stories about the Ashford family's old Texas money attitude. How they'd tried to buy Holloway land for pennies when times were tough in the 70s. How they'd spread rumors about the Irish immigrant who didn't know cattle and didn't belong. How they'd used their social connections to exclude Holloways from the Texas Cattle Raisers Association for years. Victor had inherited all of that and added his own special brand of ruthlessness. In the past decade, he'd bribed judges at cattle shows to downgrade Holloway entries, spread false rumors about disease in Holloway cattle, used his bulk purchasing power to monopolize access to premium breeding bulls, forcing smaller operations like Liam's to either pay inflated prices or go without bought-up water rights around Holloway land during the last drought, then refused to sell Liam access at any price. Poached 3 of Liam's best ranch hands by offering double their salary. And all of it was technically legal. Just business. Just the free market working exactly as designed, to let the rich get richer by crushing anyone who tried to compete. Liam had learned to hate Victor Ashford with a quiet, burning intensity that he kept locked away because his grandfather had taught him that success was the best revenge, not confrontation. But buying Titan's Fury? That was going to change the equation. At 7 a.m., Liam showered, put on his good shirt and boots, and drove his truck into town. Cody was handling the morning feed. Everything was ready for Titan's Fury's arrival this afternoon. A premium pen, special feed, the works. Brazos Valley Bank opened at 8:30. Liam was waiting in the parking lot at 8:15, too nervous to wait at home. The wire transfer of $5,000 down payment to Hank Morrison had been made 3 weeks ago. Liam's good faith commitment to the deal. Today's payment of $45,000 would complete the purchase. The contract was signed. The delivery was scheduled for 2 p.m. By tonight, Titan's Fury would be home. At 8:45, Liam sat across from Teresa, the bank manager who'd known him since he was a kid. This is a big check, Liam, she said, processing the $45,000 cashier's check made out to Hank Morrison. You sure about this? Never been more sure of anything. Okay, but if you need financial advice, I need this bull, Teresa. It's the only way Holloway Ranch survives the next 5 years. She nodded, stamped the paperwork, and handed him the check. Good luck, honey. Your grandpa would be proud. Liam sat in his truck in the parking lot, staring at the check. $45,000. Everything he had and more. All riding on one bull. His phone rang. Hank Morrison's number. Hank! Perfect timing. I'm literally holding your check right now. I can overnight it to you today, or if you want... Liam, we need to talk. Something in Hank's voice made Liam's blood run cold. There's been a development. A complication. What kind of complication? I got another offer, a better offer, and I'm taking it. Liam's vision blurred. We have a signed contract. I made a $5,000 deposit 3 weeks ago. I have the final payment in my hand right now. I know, and I'll return your deposit, plus interest for your trouble. But technically, until the final payment clears, the bull is still my property to sell. And Victor Ashford just offered me $55,000 cash. $10,000 more than you. The name hit Liam like a physical blow. Victor Ashford. Yeah, made the offer this morning. Wire transferred the full amount 20 minutes ago. It's done, Liam. I'm sorry, but business is business. You bastard. You knew I was paying today. You knew. And Victor knew too. He made a better offer. That's how free markets work, son. We had a contract, which specified that ownership transfers upon receipt of final payment. Victor's payment cleared first. Legally, I'm in the right. My lawyer confirmed it. Liam was shaking with rage. You and Victor planned this. He found out somehow, waited until the last possible moment. I don't know how Victor heard about our deal, but he did, and he made a better offer. Deal's done. I'll send your $5,000 back next week. The line went dead. Liam sat in his truck, staring at a $45,000 check that was now worthless. Everything he'd sacrificed, everything he'd risked, all stolen by Victor Ashford in one calculated move. His phone rang again. Cody. Boss, you need to get back here. Now. There's a livestock trailer in our driveway, and you're not going to believe this. Let me guess. Titan's Fury is here, but the driver says it's supposed to go to Ironwood Ranch. Silence. Then, how did you know? Because Victor Ashford just stole my bull and he's doing it right in front of my face. Liam started his truck and floored it toward home, that useless $45,000 check burning a hole in his pocket. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Liam made the 20-minute drive back to Holloway Ranch in 12 minutes, gravel spraying as he skidded into his driveway. A AAA livestock transport trailer sat in front of his barn, back ramp down. Dale, the driver, a lean man in his 50s with a weathered face, was trying to lead a magnificent Brahman bull back into the trailer while Cody physically blocked the ramp with his body. I'm telling you, this is the wrong address, Dale said, frustration clear in his voice. My delivery slip says Ironwood Ranch, not Holloway. And I'm telling you that bull was sold to my boss, Cody shot back. You're not taking him anywhere until Liam gets here. Liam jumped out of his truck. I'm here. Step away from my bull. Dale turned, relieved to see someone in charge. Sir, there's been some kind of mix-up. I was hired by Hank Morrison to deliver this bull to Victor Ashford at Ironwood Ranch. Here's my paperwork. He held out a delivery manifest. Liam scanned it, his jaw clenching tighter with each line. Recipient, Victor Ashford, Ironwood Ranch, Brazos County, TX Bull, Titan's Fury, registered Brahman, 2 years payment, completed, $55,000 wire transfer delivery authorization, Hank Morrison, Morrison Brahman Ranch. This is fraud, Liam said coldly. I have a signed purchase contract for this bull dated 6 weeks ago. I made a $5,000 deposit 3 weeks ago. I was supposed to make final payment today. Sir, I don't know anything about that. I just transport livestock. My paperwork says this bull goes to Ashford. Liam pulled out his phone and showed Dale the contract, signed by both him and Hank Morrison, dated, notarized. This is a legally binding sales agreement. That bull is mine. Dale looked between the two sets of documents, clearly uncomfortable. Look, I'm just a driver. You two need to sort this out with lawyers or something. But my job is to deliver this bull to the address on this manifest, and that's Ironwood Ranch. Over my dead body, Cody said, arms crossed. You can't hold up a legal delivery, Dale argued. That's theft. No, what's theft is Victor Ashford stealing a bull that I contracted to buy. Liam's voice rose. He found out about my deal, waited until the last possible moment, then outbid me by $10,000 knowing I'd already maxed out my finances. That sounds like he just made a better offer, Dale said carefully. That's legal, right? It's sabotage. A black Mercedes G-Wagon pulled into the driveway. Liam didn't need to see the driver to know who it was. Victor Ashford stepped out looking like he'd just come from a country club. Designer jeans, expensive boots, a smirk that made Liam want to put a fist through it. Having some trouble, Liam? Victor's voice dripped with false concern. You son of a bitch. Now. Language. Victor walked toward Titan's Fury, admiring the bull like he was inspecting a new car. Beautiful animal, isn't he? Worth every penny of the $55,000 I paid. You stole him. I purchased him. From his legal owner. With cash. That's called capitalism, Liam. Maybe if you understood business better, you wouldn't keep losing to me. We had a contract. A contract that wasn't completed. Hank Morrison had every legal right to accept a better offer. I suggest you take it up with him. Victor turned to Dale. Driver, I'm Victor Ashford. This bull was purchased by me and should have been delivered to my property. This man is interfering with a legal delivery. I'd like you to finish your job. Dale looked miserable. Mr. Holloway, I'm sorry, but don't you dare move that bull, Liam warned. Sir, I have to follow my delivery orders. If you have a legal dispute, you need to handle it through courts. Cody stepped closer to the ramp. Then you're gonna have to go through me. Cody, back off, Liam said quietly. This isn't worth catching charges over. The hell it's not. This is bullshit and you know it. Victor laughed. Your loyalty is touching, Cody. Tell you what, you want a real job with a real operation? Ironwood Ranch is always hiring. I'll pay you double whatever Liam's giving you. Go to hell, Cody spat. Your loss. Victor nodded to Dale. Load the bull, now. Liam's mind raced. Victor had the legal high ground. His payment had cleared. His paperwork was in order. Fighting this physically would just land Liam in jail, but letting Victor take Titan's Fury meant losing everything. Name your price, Liam said suddenly. Victor raised an eyebrow. Excuse me? You heard me. Name your price. You paid $55,000. I'll pay you $60,000 for him right now. You don't have $60,000. I'll get it. Loan, mortgage, whatever. Name your price. Victor's smirk widened. Liam, you sweet, desperate fool. I don't want your money. I want you to understand something. You don't get to compete with me. You don't get access to elite genetics. You don't get to build Holloway Ranch into something that threatens my market share. You stay small, stay struggling, and eventually you sell to me when the bank forecloses. That's how this ends. That's how it's always going to end. Why? Why do you hate us so much? Hate? Victor looked genuinely surprised. I don't hate you. I just don't tolerate competition. My family built Ironwood Ranch into what it is by eliminating threats. You're a threat, so you get eliminated. It's not personal, Liam. It's just business. This is personal, and you know it. Think whatever helps you sleep at night. Victor checked his watch. Dale, you've got 5 minutes to load that bull and get to my property, or I'm calling your supervisor and reporting a failed delivery. Move. Dale looked at Liam apologetically, then began leading Titan's Fury toward the trailer ramp. Cody moved to block him again, but Liam put a hand on his shoulder. Let him go. Boss. Let him go. We'll handle this another way. They watched helplessly as Titan's Fury was loaded into the trailer. The magnificent bull, the future of Holloway Ranch, disappeared behind steel walls. Victor climbed back into his Mercedes. Always a pleasure, Liam. Oh, and that $5,000 deposit Hank's returning? I'd use it to start your bankruptcy fund. You're going to need it. He drove off, the livestock trailer following. Cody turned to Liam, fists clenched. We can't let him get away with this. We won't, Liam said quietly, pulling out his phone. But we're going to be smart about it. He dialed a number he'd hoped never to use, Angela Reyes, the toughest agricultural attorney in Texas. Angela? It's Liam Holloway. I need you to sue Victor Ashford for tortious interference, and I need you to do it today. Because Victor was right about one thing. This was war. And Liam wasn't surrendering his family's legacy without a fight. Angela Reyes arrived at Holloway Ranch 2 hours later, a sharp-eyed woman in her 40s carrying a briefcase and an iPad loaded with Texas agricultural law. She sat at Liam's kitchen table, reviewing his contract with Hank Morrison while Cody paced angrily in the background. Okay, here's the situation, Angela said finally. Your contract with Morrison is valid and binding. However, Texas law allows a seller to accept a competing offer if final payment hasn't been received. Morrison will argue he had the right to sell to Ashford. So we have no case? Liam felt his stomach sink. I didn't say that. We have a strong case for tortious interference. That's when a third party intentionally disrupts a valid business relationship. If we can prove Victor knew about your contract and deliberately interfered to harm you, we can sue. How do we prove that? We need evidence that Victor knew about your deal before making his offer. Phone records, emails, witness testimony. Did you tell anyone about buying Titan's Fury? Liam thought back. A few suppliers, my banker, some guys at the feed store. Victor has connections everywhere, Cody added. Could have heard from any of them. Angela nodded. We'll subpoena Morrison's phone records and emails. If there's communication between him and Victor before this morning, we've got grounds. I'll also file for an emergency injunction to prevent Victor from breeding or selling Titan's Fury until the case is resolved. How long will this take? Months, maybe a year. Agricultural litigation moves slowly. Liam's shoulders sagged. I can't wait a year. By then, Victor will have bred Titan's Fury with his entire herd. The genetics I paid for will be his. Then we need to find a faster angle. Angela pulled up something on her iPad. Tell me about Morrison. Why would he risk breach of contract for an extra $10,000? He's retiring. Maybe he just wanted the higher price. Or maybe Victor offered him something else, a sweetener that's not on paper. Angela's eyes narrowed. These old boy networks run on favors. What if Victor promised Morrison something beyond money? Cody stopped pacing. Morrison's got a grandson. Kid's trying to break into the cattle business. What if Victor promised to buy his stock or give him contracts? That's conspiracy and fraud if we can prove it. Angela started typing notes. I'll hire a private investigator to look into Morrison's recent business dealings. If there's a side deal with Victor, we'll find it. 3 days later, Angela called with news. We got him. Morrison's grandson, Tyler Morrison, just signed a $30,000 contract to supply Ironwood Ranch with feed cattle for the next 2 years. Contract was signed the same day Victor bought Titan's Fury. Liam felt electricity run through him. That's the payoff. Exactly. Victor bought the bull from Grandpa and threw grandson a lucrative contract as a thank you for screwing you over. That's conspiracy, fraud, and tortious interference all wrapped up with a bow. Can we get the bull back? I'm filing the injunction today. If the judge sees this evidence, Victor won't be able to touch Titan's Fury until trial. And at trial, we're going to destroy him. 2 weeks later, Liam stood in Brazos County Court as Judge Patricia Hendricks reviewed the evidence. Victor's lawyer, an expensive shark from Houston, argued strenuously. Your Honor, my client made a legitimate business offer. How he chooses to conduct other business relationships is irrelevant. It's absolutely relevant, Angela countered, when those relationships constitute a quid pro quo payment scheme designed to induce breach of contract and harm my client. Judge Hendricks looked at the timeline. Victor's offer to Morrison, the grandson's contract signed the same day, phone records showing 3 calls between Victor and Morrison in the week before. Mr. Ashford, the judge said coolly, did you know about Mr. Holloway's existing contract when you made your offer? Victor's lawyer jumped in. Your Honor, my client... I asked Mr. Ashford. Victor stood confident. I heard rumors about a possible sale. Business intelligence. That's not illegal. And the contract with Tyler Morrison? Unrelated business. That was signed the same day you purchased the bull that Mr. Holloway had already contracted for? Coincidence. Judge Hendricks didn't look convinced. I'm granting the preliminary injunction. Mr. Ashford, you are prohibited from breeding, selling, or transferring Titan's Fury until this case is resolved. The bull will remain on your property under court seal. Victor's face went red. Your Honor, my ruling stands. We'll reconvene for full trial in 60 days. She banged her gavel. Outside the courthouse, Victor cornered Liam. You just made a big mistake. That injunction doesn't change anything. You still don't have the bull. Neither do you, Liam said. And in 60 days, a jury's going to hear how you conspired with Morrison to steal from me. How you think that's going to play in Brazos County. Victor's smirk faltered slightly. See you in court, Liam said. For the first time in 20 years, he'd made Victor Ashford blink. The next 30 days were brutal. Victor's lawyers filed motion after motion, trying to dismiss the case, delay the trial, or get the injunction lifted. Angela fought back every time, but it was expensive. Legal fees were draining Liam's already depleted bank account. We need something bigger, Angela told Liam during a strategy meeting. The grandson's contract is good, but Victor's lawyers will argue it's coincidental. We need proof of direct conspiracy. Like what? A paper trail. Recorded conversations. Something undeniable. Liam thought about it. What if someone wore a wire? Angela raised an eyebrow. You volunteering? No. But I know someone Victor might talk to freely. That someone was Boyd Patterson, a cattle broker who'd done business with both Holloway and Ironwood for years. Boyd was neutral territory, trusted by both sides. You want me to what? Boyd said when Liam approached him. Just ask Victor about the Morrison deal. Get him talking. We'll record it. That's entrapment. It's not entrapment if he voluntarily admits to conspiracy. Look, Boyd, you've known my family 30 years. You know Victor's been crushing small operators like me. Help me prove it. Boyd was quiet for a long moment. Victor offered to buy out my brokerage last year. Said he wanted to consolidate supply chains. When I refused, he blacklisted me from half my clients. Bastard cost me $80,000 in business. So help me take him down. Boyd nodded slowly. One conversation. That's all I'm promising. 3 days later, Boyd met Victor at a steakhouse in Bryan. Angela had arranged for a private investigator to wire Boyd with a hidden recorder, completely legal in Texas, which is a one-party consent state. Boyd steered the conversation carefully. Heard you got that Brahman bull from Morrison. Nice piece. Victor, relaxed after 2 whiskeys, leaned back. Best $55,000 I ever spent. Not for the bull, for watching Liam Holloway's face when they loaded it onto my property. People saying you stole his deal. Stole? Victor laughed. I paid more. That's called competition. Heard Morrison's grandson got a sweet contract with you the same day. Victor's smile widened. Tyler's a smart kid. I like investing in young talent. Coincidence it happened the same day? Boyd, you've been in this business long enough to know how it works. You want something, you make the right people happy. Hank wanted his grandson taken care of. I took care of the grandson. Hank took care of me. Everybody wins. Except Holloway. Especially Holloway. That Irish punk thinks he can compete with Ironwood? Victor's voice turned cold. His grandfather should have sold to my father when he had the chance. Now Liam's going to lose everything. His bull, his ranch, his dignity. And when he's desperate enough, I'll buy Holloway Ranch for pennies on the dollar like I should have years ago. That the plan? That's always been the plan. Break him financially, break him legally, then buy him out. Holloways don't belong in Texas cattle business. Never did. Boyd kept his face neutral. Sounds like you got it all figured out. I always do. 4 days later, Liam, Angela, and Boyd sat in Angela's office listening to the recording. Victor's voice came through crystal clear, admitting to the quid pro quo arrangement and his explicit plan to destroy Holloway Ranch. Angela smiled grimly. This is it. This is everything we need. Admission of conspiracy, intent to harm, anti-competitive behavior. Victor just handed us the case. Will it hold up in court? Liam asked. Boyd consented to the recording. Texas is one-party consent. Victor was in a public place with no expectation of privacy. This is completely admissible. Angela started drafting motions. I'm submitting this to the judge immediately. With this evidence, we don't even need a trial. Victor will settle. I don't want a settlement, Liam said. I want him to lose, publicly. Liam, he tried to destroy my family. I want everyone to know what he did. Angela studied his face, then nodded. Okay, we go to trial, and we bury him. The trial lasted 3 days. Angela played the recording in open court. Victor's voice filled the courtroom, cold and calculating, admitting to conspiracy and his plan to destroy Holloway Ranch. The jury's faces said everything. Victor's lawyers scrambled, arguing the recording was taken out of context, that Victor was just talking, but the damage was done. Angela brought in Hank Morrison, who, facing perjury charges, finally admitted Victor had promised the grandson's contract in exchange for breaking the deal with Liam. On the third day, the jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. We find in favor of the plaintiff, Liam Holloway. We award ownership of Titan's Fury to Mr. Holloway, plus $120,000 in compensatory damages for lost breeding revenue, legal fees, and emotional distress. Additionally, we award $250,000 in punitive damages for conspiracy, fraud, and tortious interference. Victor's face went ashen. His lawyer immediately stood. Your Honor, we intend to appeal. Mr. Ashford, Judge Hendricks interrupted. Before you consider appeals, you should know I'm referring this case to the Texas Attorney General for criminal investigation into conspiracy and fraud. You may want to focus on that. The courtroom erupted. Reporters rushed out. Victor sat frozen as deputies approached to discuss the criminal referral. Outside, Liam stood with Cody and Angela, overwhelmed. $370,000 total, Angela said. Plus you get the bull, and Victor's reputation is destroyed. What happens now? Victor pays. Titan's Fury gets transferred to Holloway Ranch today, and you rebuild. 2 weeks later, Liam stood at Titan's Fury's pen watching the magnificent bull settle into his new home, his rightful home. Cody appeared beside him, heard Victor's selling off assets to pay the judgment. Might lose Ironwood Ranch entirely if the criminal charges stick. Good. Boss, what you gonna do with all that money? Liam smiled. First, pay off debts, then expand. But mostly? He looked at Cody. I'm starting a fund for small ranchers who get squeezed by operations like Victor's. Legal defense fund, low-interest loans, whatever they need to fight back. Your grandfather would be proud. Yeah, he would. 3 months later, news broke that Victor Ashford had been indicted on fraud charges. Ironwood Ranch was put up for sale. The old Texas money empire was crumbling, and Holloway Ranch, the operation everyone said would fail, was thriving. Titan's Fury's first calves sold for record prices. Buyers who'd once dismissed Liam were now calling him. One evening, Liam received a letter. Inside was a check for $5,000, his original deposit from Hank Morrison, finally returned. Liam endorsed it and mailed it to the small rancher defense fund he'd established, because he remembered what it felt like to be powerless against wealth and corruption, and he'd be damned if he let it happen to anyone else. At Titan's Fury's pen, Liam watched the bull that had nearly cost him everything, but instead had given him justice. We did it, Liam said quietly. Proved that doing right still matters. The bull looked at him with calm, intelligent eyes. Sometimes the best revenge isn't confrontation. It's building something so strong that those who tried to break you end up breaking themselves. And sometimes the bull you fight for becomes the symbol of everything you stand for. This farmer was at the bank paying for a bull, until he learned it was sent to his rival's ranch.